Hi friends, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new around here, I'm Cheryl and this is Table Full of Joy. So I'm super excited today. We are making a old pasta classic bake. I love chicken tetrazzini. It's a recipe, I haven't made it for a long time, but I've seen a lot of people making it recently. So I'm excited to make it tonight. So we're gonna start, I'm just gonna make a small batch. My husband and I are getting ready to leave on vacation for a few days. We're headed to the Oregon coast and I don't wanna have a lot of leftovers in my fridge while we're gone. So I'm trying to keep the amounts that I make small, so this will be enough for us tonight, probably leftovers tomorrow night, and that'll be it. So I'm just doing one chicken breast, and these are chicken breasts that I got at Costco, and we vacuum sealed them and we brought them home from the store. I only do one because these chicken breasts are huge. If you've never bought Costco chicken breasts, these things are monstrous. They are enough for 2 people. So we're just gonna give this a really quick dice, and then we're going to get this into our pan. So chicken tetrazzini, I think it was a popular dish back in the 70s. It was one of those real popular dishes that people brought to potlucks and that kind of stuff. They would bring it to people after they had a baby or they had a death in their family or something, and they needed a hot dish to bring, and this is chicken tetrazzini was one of those really popular things that they made back in those days. But it's a classic, it's super tasty. All you need with this is a good piece of bread to wipe up all of the yummy sauce that's with it, and a salad. And I think that's probably what we'll have tonight is a nice green salad, and I'm gonna make some breadsticks later. That'll probably be a separate video, but we're just gonna get this chicken cut up real quick. We're gonna cook this in a little bit of butter and olive oil. So the butter is the flavor, and the olive oil is going to increase the burn temp of the olive oil. So the butter won't burn with the olive oil in it, which is super nice. You get the benefit of the flavor, but you're only using half of it because you're splitting it with the olive oil. So a couple more little chunks here we need to cut up. I've been wanting to do something recently with the stuff that we dehydrated a couple of weeks ago. We did a Costco haul, and I showed you guys that we had some items that we picked up at Costco, and we needed to preserve those things because we had too much and we couldn't use it before it went bad. So I'm excited to be able to use our mushrooms that we dehydrated and our onions that we already chopped and were in our freezer ready for us. So that's going to make this recipe super quick. Give my hands a really quick wash. Always wash your hands when you're dealing with raw chicken or any kind of raw meat. So we are going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter in our pan and a little bit of olive oil. And this is going to get it started so then we can put our chicken in here. We want to get our pan hot before we add our chicken. So we're adding about 2 tablespoons of butter and about a tablespoon of olive oil. So while that's heating up, I want to tell you about these mushrooms. I'm really excited with how these turned out. So we dehydrated these a couple weeks ago. We had done a Costco grocery haul, and we had a pretty good sized package of mushrooms, and I wasn't able to eat them all before they were going to go bad. So I needed a way to use them up or to preserve them. So we put these in our dehydrator. We dehydrated them for about 6 or 8 hours, and we got these beautiful dried mushrooms. I'll show you what they look like. They're absolutely beautiful. So we have our dried mushrooms, and we are going to put those in with our sauce. They're going to rehydrate in our sauce. Actually, what I think we're going to do, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here right now. So I heated up some hot water with some stock. I use this Better Than Bouillon. This is my favorite thing to use. I get this at Costco. They have chicken or beef. I love both of those. It is a lot cheaper to buy it this way than it is to buy the cartons of stock. And this way I can make as much as I need. I always struggle with just the 2 of us with opening a whole carton of chicken stock because sometimes I don't need that much. Sometimes I just need a little bit. So I love having those in my refrigerator. They keep for quite a while in there. All right, so we got this stirred up. Let's put our mushrooms right in here. They can start rehydrating in with our broth, and we'll just add this to our sauce when we're ready. And our mushrooms will be nice and hydrated, ready for us. I'm making a mess, but that's what we do when you're really cooking. When you're cooking real food, you make a mess. All right, so we're just gonna kind of take our whisk and kind of push those down in there. I hear our butter sizzling over here. So we're just gonna drop our chicken right in our pan. Gonna put these over in the sink real quick. And then we're gonna get our spoon. We're just gonna start sauteing our chicken in our butter and olive oil. We've got our water boiling here for our pasta, so we're gonna get that seasoned up real quick. So I am using our favorite pasta. We love this Barilla protein pasta. This is the best pasta. Good way to get some extra protein into your diet. I like the flavor of the pasta better than I do the regular. Barilla pasta is my favorite anyway, but I really, really like the protein pasta the best. So we're gonna grab a pair of tongs so that we can do this. So I am going to break this pasta in half because I don't necessarily like eating a big, huge piece. And I'm gonna cook about half the box. That should be enough for us for the 2 meals that I'm hoping to get out of this pan. So we're just gonna give our pasta a quick stir with our tongs so it doesn't stick together. Last thing we want is our pasta sticking. And we're done with this, so we're just gonna set this aside. And I'll bring you guys over so you can see our chicken. So we're just gonna get a little bit of color on our chicken before we start adding anything else to it. I wanna get this chicken a little bit more done, and then we're gonna add some onions to it. We have our packet here of our onions right here that we froze. This is such a great thing. I love having these onions in my freezer already chopped. I took 15 minutes a couple of weeks ago and I took these onions and I chopped them up and I got them into these vacuum seal bags with our vacuum sealer, and I love it. Now it saved me that time from having to chop that onion for this recipe. So we're going to use about half of this because, as you guys know, I don't like onion. I'm not a huge fan of it. So we're just going to use about half of it. And I can already smell the onion starting to cook. It's going to defrost just fine right in our pan. You don't need to worry about thawing them out. I just take them straight from the freezer and put them right in my dish, and they're just fine. We're going to give our pasta another little stir real quick so we don't have anything sticking together. I want nice individual pieces of our pasta, not a big clump. So the nice thing about this recipe is you can literally cook your chicken and your sauce all in one pot, and then we will add our pasta at the very end, and we'll stir everything together. It's much easier to add your pasta to your sauce than it is to add your sauce to your pasta. So we're going to add our pasta right to this after we get our sauce made, and then it's all going to go right into our casserole dish. Now it's supposed to have breadcrumbs, and I am out of breadcrumbs, but I'm going to use something else, and we're going to try this. I did this once before when I made a tuna casserole. I didn't have breadcrumbs because I don't use a lot of breadcrumbs, so I don't typically have a lot of them on hand. And the last time I used them all and I just forgot to put them on the list. But you can use crackers. You can sometimes use cereal to give you the breadcrumb texture that you need on top of your recipes, which is super nice. So I want to show you, this is so cool. Our mushrooms, look at that. They are starting to rehydrate. They're starting to get nice and soft, just sitting in our broth waiting for us to make our sauce. So those are going to be amazing. I love that we were able to take those mushrooms that I wasn't able to use them, but instead of them sitting in the refrigerator, getting slimy and going in the garbage, we were able to dehydrate those, vacuum seal them so they stayed fresh, and then we were able to use those and put those right into our recipe. So our onion is starting to break apart, which is good. We're getting some nice onion flavor. I'm going to add some seasonings to this now. I'm going to add some oregano, probably about a tablespoon and a half. We're going to add some freeze-dried chives. I just love the way the chives taste in this. We're going to add a little bit of salt. My salt container is empty, so I need to refill that. But we're going to add just a little bit of salt to this. Oh, this is just smelling so incredible. This is smelling so good. You can see our chicken. And there's our onions. They're almost all the way broke down, which is super nice. And like I said, I love that those were already in our freezer, chopped up, ready to go, and I didn't have to mess with them at all. That was super, super helpful. So before we add our stock with our mushrooms, we're going to add some flour to this because we're going to make a roux. So if you don't know what a roux is where you take a fat and flour and you cook those, and you want to cook the flour taste out. So you're going to have to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes to get that raw flour taste out. Nobody wants to taste that raw flour. It just is not very pleasant. Same thing with you're making gravy. If you're making gravies, you want to cook the flour taste out of it. So this is looking really good. So I'm going to turn this down and we're going to add some flour to this. Grab my flour right here. Our pasta is cooking and looking good. Bring you guys over a little bit closer so you can see. You guys will be able to see the flour. So we're going to put our flour in. We're going to start with about a tablespoon to start off with, and we're going to see how we're looking. How you know if you have enough flour mixed into your fat is if your flour has absorbed all of your fat. You want it to absorb it so that almost everything looks like a dry paste. Okay, so that was about 2 tablespoons, and I think that is about where we want to be. So you can see what this looks like. So we are going to let this cook for just a couple minutes so that we get that raw flavor taste out of our pan, or out of our chicken, sorry. Our chicken is cooked. The flour, I think, is good now. We've got that flour flavor cooked out of it. So we're going to add our chicken stock that we went ahead and reconstituted our mushrooms. And we're just going to add all of this in. Make sure that we get all of this broth that is down in here. We want to make sure we get every bit of that because that is flavor that we don't want to waste. We're going to turn our heat up now a little bit because we want to start getting this so that it's going to thicken. You can see what this looks like now. This is going to be amazing. You want that nice dark color that's in here with all of those mushrooms and the chicken. And we're going to let that start to cook, and it's going to start to boil a little bit. It's going to come to a simmer, and that's what's going to thicken our sauce that's going to go in this. And then we are going to add some heavy cream to this, which is going to finish the sauce off. And then we will add our pasta to it so we can mix everything together and get this all put together. And then it's just going to go into our casserole dish. And like I said before, I don't have any breadcrumbs today. I forgot to get them at the store, but I'm going to use some Triscuit crackers. I've used them before, and they make a wonderful topping. I love that nice rich flavor and the real crunch that the wheatiness of the Triscuits gives this. Okay, our sauce is starting to thicken up really, really nice. It's smelling amazing. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit of heavy cream to this now so that we can get this sauce finished up. You see how quick this goes together? Chicken tetrazzini really is not a hard dish to make. I remember back in the 70s, a lot of people, oh, it's so intimidating. It's typically, chicken tetrazzini is made with canned soup mix. I am not a fan of canned soup mix. That's just me. You're welcome to use a canned cream of chicken or canned cream of mushroom soup if you'd like to make this. That is the way that it was done back in the 70s. I like to make my own cream of mushroom and my own cream of chicken soup when I make dishes like this. So we're gonna add about, I'm gonna say about a half a cup. And we'll look at this and see how it looks after we put a half a cup in. I think I'm gonna add just about another tablespoon. Yum, that looks tasty. You can see what our sauce is looking like now after we've added our heavy cream to this. And you know, I just had an idea. Bear with me for a second as I think out loud. I have a partial container of chive and onion cream cheese. Let's put this in to see how we like this. Cream cheese makes everything better. So this is not going to be your traditional chicken tetrazzini. This is going to be my take on chicken tetrazzini. This is me thinking out of the box, doing last minute things, which is what I always do in the kitchen. I think recipes are fantastic, but I also think that recipes can be a guide. I think they can be something that we use as a starting point, and I think that the recipe can really become your own thing with whatever you like, whatever you want to put in. If you have a little bit of extra something and you want to throw it in there. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you taste it and you're like, oh, that was awful, I'll never do that again. Great, lesson learned. You learn something new. That's what cooking is supposed to be about. Cooking is supposed to be about learning things, experiencing new things, trying new stuff. I can tell you, in all the years that I've been cooking, I've had a lot of fails. But I've also had way more successes than I have fails. So just kind of like I just did, I'm like, you know, I have this partial thing of cream cheese. I'm going to throw it in this because I think it's going to be fantastic, because it's just another cream or a cheese layer. Let's grab a spoon here and let's give it a taste. Make sure I get a little bit of this mushroom. I'm really anxious to try these mushrooms that we dehydrated. I want to see what the texture is on these and how they taste. We have a little bit of chicken, a little bit of mushroom, a lot of our sauce. Oh, wow. That is really good. The cream cheese was a good call. So like I said, this is not your traditional chicken tetrazzini. This is my version. This is what I wanted to do with it. And because it's my kitchen, that's what I'm going to do. Just like when it's your house and your kitchen, you do what you want to do with it. All right, so we are going to take our pasta. We got our pasta drained. I didn't think you guys needed to see me do that. Anybody knows how to drain pasta. So we're going to take our pasta. Let's turn our burner off. The one thing I want to tell you about the pasta, I cooked it just shy of al dente. You don't want it overcooked because it's going to cook again in the oven with your, in your pan, and you don't want it to be overcooked. That's the problem, is if you overcook it in this pot, it's going to be way overcooked in this one. So you want to make sure that you're cooking it just shy of al dente before you put it into a casserole. If you're doing like a baked ziti, or some other kind of baked pasta, cook it just shy of al dente. Don't cook it all the way, because if it's cooked all the way, like I said, it's going to be overcooked when you go to eat it, and nobody wants to eat overcooked pasta. All right, so we have our spoon, we have our tongs. We're just going to get in here and stir this. Oh my gosh, this looks heavenly. This is going to make the hubby very happy tonight. All right, I think we're gonna add some mozzarella cheese to this. I typically like to grate my own. I had to buy this for another recipe that I needed this for, so I'm just gonna use it. I need to use it up. So I'm just gonna take some of this. I'm gonna say we're probably gonna use about a cup, roughly. Cheese is one of those things that if you love cheese, add more. If you're not a cheese fan, add less. Or it really honestly was tasty as it was. And so you really don't even have to add it if you don't want it. But I love cheese, and any excuse to add cheese to a recipe, I am all about it. So, okay, this looks amazing. I am super excited about this. The cheese is not all the way melted yet, but it's going to get there when it gets in the oven. And it's going to be a fantastic cheesy mess on my plate that's going to make me super happy on this fall evening. We're gonna get this mixed up the rest of the way, and we're gonna get this into our pan. Our pasta is ready to go in our baking dish, and I am just going to, I'm gonna set my spoon right here for a second. We're just gonna get this dumped right into our casserole dish. Okay, let's get the rest of this sauce out. We don't want to waste any of this. All right, this looks amazing. I am super excited to eat this tonight. We are going to get breadcrumbs on this, which, like I said, I don't have any breadcrumbs. What I have is Triscuits, so we're gonna chop up those, and we're gonna get those put on top of our sauce. We are ready to put our cracker crumbs, not breadcrumbs today. We're gonna use these Triscuits. These are just original Triscuits. My husband eats these for lunch. So we're gonna take about, let's do about 6, 8. Let's do about 10. We'll do about 10 crackers, and that should be good. I'm going to use my little chopper here. I don't want to waste a Ziploc bag for this. You can see how good those chopped up. So we are going to just do these last. I love this thing. This thing works so great for this kind of stuff. We're going to use our bench scraper to make it easy. We've got about a tablespoon of butter melted. And we are going to, oh, we got a couple crackers that didn't get chopped up. We'll do those. Let's chop these. Okay. We have our butter in here with our Triscuit crumbs. We're just gonna toss these together. And you know, I just realized it. I didn't get Parmesan cheese for the top. So I'm gonna use this stuff. It's perfectly fine. I think a lot of us have this refrigerator cheese in our fridge. My husband eats this on pizza. So we're just gonna add a little bit of that just to give us a little more flavor with these Triscuits that we're gonna put on top. All right, this is gonna be tasty. So we are going to put our Triscuit crumbs right on top of our chicken tetrazzini. Get this all covered. And then this is gonna bake at 350 for about 30 minutes. You wanna check it. You want it to be nice and hot and bubbly, and then it'll be ready. And this is our chicken tetrazzini, ready for the oven. Hi friends, so time got away from me. I got sidetracked, but our dinner is done. Our chicken tetrazzini is all finished. We have our breadsticks. The breadsticks are going to be a separate video. We are going to sit down and eat this tasty dinner. I want to thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you're new around here, please subscribe so you don't miss out on anything that I share. And I really appreciate y'all. Have a great night, friends.